For those of us that enjoy deep fried fish, you don't know which type of oil has been used. You don't know also how many times these oils have been reused. So these foods that you are eating, how safe are they? You see things like tomatoes. Aki tomatoes, watu wa Nairobi sijui tomatoes zetu zinatoka wapi. Kwanza when you see some of them, aki they are so plumpy, they are shining, they don't even have any spots. Hey, what's up now, viewers? Join me, the nutritionist on two wheels, as we ride into a world of healthy living, tasty eats, and epic adventures. Hello, good people. The time is 5:27 p.m. It's a beautiful day. The sun has been out the whole day. This is your nutritionist on two wheels. Welcome to my channel. If you're new here, I hope this is going to be the first of your many videos. If you've watched my videos before, karibu tena, and thank you so much for the support. Kwanza hata we have just finished the Homa Bay Rusinga Island series. Asanteni sana for watching all the episodes and for commenting. May you guys never lack. Sasa, today I want us to talk about nutrition related information. Kwanza, there's one particular viewer who wanted me to discuss about vegetables, the issue of vegetables in Nairobi. Also oils, which are the best oils to use for cooking, that is. And on top of that, I'm going to add on to the issue of aflatoxin. Sawa, let's get right into it. Ngoja. Before I start, tunaenda Upper Hill. I want us to go to Upper Hill, karibu na Kenyatta National Hospital. Hapo Mara Road. In terms of route, we're just going to use Uhuru Highway. I think mpaka Kenyatta Avenue. I won't go mpaka Haile Selassie. Sahi ni rush hour. So, because the distance is so long, but it's not long. So my stories should be enough to keep us company till there. Haya. So, nataka tuanze na aflatoxins. We've all heard of aflatoxins one way or another. Sana, especially on news, because of the foods that we consume. Biggest culprit is usually maize and groundnuts. So, what is aflatoxin? So aflatoxin is one of the most natural toxins, most potent toxins available. Nomesikia they are natural, and they usually formed from a fungi called asparagus fungi. So when most of these food products are harvested, sana maize and groundnuts or peanuts, there's a way foods have to be handled post harvesting, sindio? So they need to be dried mpaka the shell, for this matter, for the, what are they called, for the groundnuts, the shell needs to, you need to feel that it has become brittle. And then also they're supposed to be stored in areas that are cool and dry. So avoid moisture as much as possible, because this moisture is what usually acts as a source of, it accelerates growth of fungus. Sawa. Chiniwaambia hakuna kitu muhimu kama kudiscuss hizi vitu kama una negotiate kwa traffic. Haya. Niko sawa. Nafika tu hapa Haile Selassie. Haile Selassie. Haya. Amona alikuwa amenikaribia sana. Nescafe. So these foods have to be dried. They need to be stored in cool and dry areas. In fact, they're not supposed to be stored or packaged in plastic material. Whatever packages that you use to store them need to be, the air needs to pass through. That's why you usually have like the woven gunias. Okay, but plastic may trap in moisture, which now again will lead to growth of to growth of fungus. Niko tu sawa na mimi bora. Niko juu but inanifaa hivyo. Okay, imagine nimechanganyikiwa. Tunaenda tu nilikuwa niende Kenyatta Avenue, sasa wana moshene. Sasa niko hapa tu gumzo. Tutapandia hapa. Hapa sasa pameshikana proper. Aki usisonge mbele. Oh my days. Let me show you. Okay. Good. We shall fit it. Okay, no. Off-road it is. And since the regulation bodies in Kenya are very weak, it's really hard to know if the foods that we consume are low in aflatoxins. So these aflatoxins, ndo hata ujue how potent they are, zinapimangwa in parts per billion. And the recommendations say that any food product inafaa kukua below 4 parts per billion. Sasa imagine you can find a food product yenye iko as high as 2000. Okay, we may not really understand in layman terms what is parts per billion, but if we imagine if the recommendation says below 4 na food product inakuwa above 4000 mona. And we have ever had, I think, like 2 cases in Kenya where we had a breakout, aflatoxicosis. In 2004 and 2005 Eastern region. Imagine we had more than 120 deaths because of aflatoxins in maize. Okay, it's bad. And the effects of consuming foods that are high in aflatoxins. Aki, don't move in front. Don't move. Ngoja. Why are you hooting? And then I have to reverse. Asante. Hey, let me tell you haraka. Sasa, watu wengine, okay. Shaniache. So, effects of consuming foods high in aflatoxins, it can lead to liver cancer. It can suppress your immunity, and when your immunity is suppressed, now you become susceptible to getting any form of infection. And in children, it leads to stunted growth. And by the way, once kids turn 2 years and their height for their age is not as expected, that's it, they become stunted. There's nothing you can do. And we also don't want to expose our children to more risks as they grow older. Unajua kwanza they're already vulnerable. Sasa. Oh my gosh, ini jam imeshikana hivi. Ngoja. Haya, Haile Selassie it is. Aki tutafika kama hata sija discuss hizo vitu zingine. I am an advocate for nuts. Kwanza groundnuts, but right now it's such a growing concern because people maybe just people just want to do business, they want to make money, so they may not be keen on ensuring that they take care of the foods as expected, as required. Sawa. So for groundnuts, you need to be very careful about your sources. If you have a reliable source, sawa, go for it. Ama if you even grow your own, so you make sure you store them, you dry and store them properly. Oh, and this aflatoxin ni chemical stable, they are heat stable, so it does not matter. After if you roast them, imagine if the toxin is there, that it cannot be destroyed. And unfortunately, the toxin does not have what can we say? It does not have a color or a taste. Groundnuts may just be looking healthy, and you just go ahead and eat them. There's something else that I wanted us to talk about is fats and oils. Now, fats and oils are very important for the body to be able to take care of itself. Let me even use a longer route. So, for example, the role of fat in the body is to help with insulation, absorption of fat-soluble vitamins like vitamin A, D, E, and K, synthesis of all the cells. Sawa. So, these fats and oils, it depends on the sources. So, but the most important thing, their baseline, I may get a bit technical, all fats and oils have 3 fatty acids na glycerol. That's the backbone. Sasa itavari sasa, the specific type of oil now will, hizo fatty acids ndo zita change. Sawa. Haya, so tuanze na vegetable oils and seed oils. Oh, sorry, before nifike hapo. So kwa these fats and oils, we have saturated fats and we have unsaturated fats. And as unsaturated, tuko na monounsaturated na polyunsaturated fats. Sawa. All unsaturated fats are liquid in nature. So tuko na vegetable oils, tuko na canola, tuko na seed oils, tuko na nimesema olive. Haya, saturated fats are solid in nature. Haki nishafika kwa my destination. Let me just continue with my discussion after, on my way back, then tumalize so that I don't rush myself. So yesterday when I left Upper Hill, imagine I forgot to plug the microphone to the camera, so I just ended up talking to myself the whole time. Sasa wacha nirudie the education bit, whatever we were discussing. So I left things at the fats and oils. So leo kwanza hata you will run my errands with me. Wacha kwanza tufike hapa Garden City. Now, si tunasikianga healthy fats all the time. So unsaturated fats are the good fats. Now, but we'll go into detail. But specific unsaturated fats. So tuko na monounsaturated fats and polyunsaturated fats. Tuanze na monounsaturated fats. The best example here is olive oil. And the advantage of olive oil, or why we're always hearing olive oil is the best extra virgin oil, it's because it's high in polyphenols, which have anti-inflammatory and antioxidant properties. However, olive oil is best used as a dressing or very light cooking because it burns easily. And what that means, it gets oxidized by heat. So once that happens, it will end up becoming rancid. So it beats purpose. It does not benefit you. Okay? So that you use it as a salad dressing, the best. Some people even take a tablespoon of olive oil after meals or every day in the morning or evening. That's very good. Now we have other unsaturated fats such as avocados, nuts and seeds, and these ones you benefit from them 100% when you eat them as they are whole. So kama it's macadamia nuts, groundnuts, cashew nuts as they are. That way you'll end up getting the minerals and vitamins, you'll end up getting fiber and the good fats. So the advantage of these healthy fats is they end up increasing the good cholesterol in the body, known as HDL. Okay, tusonge sasa kwa polyunsaturated fats, and these are now the vegetable oils and some seed oils like corn oil. Okay, higher. So these oils are high in omega-6, and omega-6 is known as a pro-inflammatory. So there has to be a balance. Now omega-6 is a type of a fatty acid, and we also have omega-3. So when it gets to a point where you find yourself where you end up eating foods, most foods that are high in omega-6 and very small doses of omega-3, your body will end up, chances of you increasing inflammation is higher. Sawa. And we get omega-6 from nuts, from seeds, we get them from animal proteins. So omega-6 is easily available. Omega-3 on the other hand, the best source of omega-3 is fish oil or fatty fish like salmon. So if that is something that is part of your diet, very nice. The fish that we consume, tilapia, Nile perch, they are not good sources of omega-3. So it's this cold water fish, salmon or cod liver. Higher. Now, so for you to make sure that you get enough omega-3, you're supposed to supplement yourself. We also get omega-3 from plant sources like the seeds, chia seeds, pumpkin seeds, flax seeds. However, omega-3 from plant sources is not readily absorbed by the body. It takes a lot of effort and a longer time for the body to convert the omega-3 from plants into DHA and EPA. So you might have to consume larger quantities of the seeds. So if it's possible, if you supplement yourself, the better. Okay, so now that we know that these oils are rich in omega-6, that's one thing. Higher. These oils also do not have a high smoking point, so they also get oxidized by heat very fast, especially oils that are usually repeated. Higher. For those of us that enjoy deep fried fish, you don't know which type of oil has been used to deep fry ukienda kununua. You don't know also how many times these oils have been reused. So what happens, you just keep on consuming trans fats, and trans fats will end up increasing inflammation in the body, which eventually may lead to high cholesterol levels, and the bad cholesterol nile inaitwa LDL. Okay, higher. Umeona ndo hizo disadvantages za the polyunsaturated fats. So you go at home, you go and check which oil you usually use. Kama imeandikwa vegetable oil, ama if it is corn oil or seed oil, you just take note. Higher. So we move from there, let's go to the saturated fats. Saturated fats, their molecular structure has in a double bonds. So that means those atoms are tightly packed. That is why they are solid in nature. Let's start with coconut oil. So coconut oil inakwanga solid in room temperature. When it changes, it also liquefies. Sasa, I like this side of the entrance. Hawasumbuangi. Uko nyuma emambianga utoe mpaka helmet, wache bike, you walk to where the security guards are. They complicate. We can't start telling me to remove my helmet. Anyway, higher. So the main fat in coconut oil, those fats are called medium chain triglycerides, MCT. And the advantage of MCTs is that they are readily once they are absorbed, they are readily available to be used as energy. so that they're not stored as fat. So that's a good thing. Unaona hata like for patients who are usually in critical care, most of their feeds usually have omega-3. They also have MCTs. Now, tuendelee. So coconut oil has a unique flavor. And it is an acquired taste. If it's something that you enjoy, especially when you cook, if it is like the legumes or rice, it's usually very tasty. Haya, tutoke hapo tuende kwa butter. Butter also, same thing, it is also saturated and it also has cholesterol. By the way, we get cholesterol from... anyway, tuendelee tu. We get cholesterol from animal proteins, but this does not mean that you're not supposed to consume any animal protein because you don't want your cholesterol levels to go up. But this is something we can discuss in details on another video. Okay, so for butter is made from cream of milk. It's a good source of, it also has the fat soluble vitamins, vitamin A, D, E and K. Sawa, manizunguke hivi tumalize kuongea story ya butter. And it also makes food to be flavorful. After butter, we said how butter is made. In most of the time in large scale, they usually remove, once they pasteurize milk, they separate the milk and the cream, and then now that cream is churned to form butter. Butter needs to be refrigerated because when you expose it, when you leave it at room temperature, it also becomes rancid. Okay, so from butter, when you take that butter and then you vaporize it until you remove any liquid cream from it, you end up now getting ghee. So ghee has like 99% of fat, which is usually stored at room temperature. Higher. So smoking point ya butter, yeah, ghee is higher than butter, and butter can be used, and ghee can be used to cook anything, whether it's your vegetables, your legumes, your meats, right? It's also flavorful, and it also has trace amounts of vitamin A, D, E and K, which also, because it is oil, it also helps with absorption of the same fat soluble vitamins. So depending on what you have cooked, it will aid in the absorption. Sawa? Tuingie huko ndani, tutaendelea. Okay, tuendelee. Let's talk about tallow. There's tallow and there's lard. So the difference ni, tallow is the fat from beef. Let's also include fat from goat, mutton, tutazieka hapo, same category. And lard is from pig, or rather pork meat. Sawa. And how these fats are prepared, when you cut the meat, you separate the meat from the fat, and then you heat the fat on low heat, medium to low heat, until all the fat liquefies, and then you sieve so that you remove any of the remaining meat and connective tissue. Alafu once you just let it cool and you store your fat at room temperature. Sawa. So I want you to note that this saturated fats or animal fats, the level of processing, it's very simple, and there are no additives. There's nothing that has been used. By the way, something important I forgot to mention, the vegetable oils, if they're not cold pressed, they usually use if they use chemicals, or the process that they use to make the oils, it may include bleaching or degrading those vegetables and seeds. So you find that these oils have been stripped off of their benefits, so there are no phytonutrients there. Sawa. But then now this animal fats processing is very simple, and there are no additives. In fact, most of us growing up, or our grandparents, these are the fats that they used to use to cook food. Wakichinja kondo, hiyo mafuta ndio inawekwa hapo, ndio mnajipaka kwa mwili, mara sijui umekuwa mgonjwa unapewa hiyo mafuta, si ndio? Even we still have some people today who use ghee. They make for themselves. They separate the cream from milk, and then they put it in a container and they shake mpaka they get that fat. So ghee is usually like semi-solid, it's not completely solid. Okay, higher. So the again, the shelf life, it can last longer because it's what, 99% of fat, so there's no risk of it going bad. In fact, when you even look at consumption, it's easier to control the quantity of fat that you use compared with the liquid of these animal fats versus the vegetable oils. Okay, now advantage of tallow and lard is that they have a very high smoking point, so they're even the best for deep frying. Though I'm not encouraging you to eat deep fried foods, you try avoid them as much as possible, but so they are good for, you can use them to fry your onions, your legumes. Most of the time when cooking meat, you don't even need to use oil because the meats are already fatty. Are we together? So our recommended dietary allowance, we have an allowance of 10% of saturated fats. Now, if you prefer to use the animal fats to cook for cooking, you use them in moderation. So Mimi as an individual will encourage you to use coconut ghee, butter. Olive oil is also very good, but don't heat it. So it's either you steam your foods and then you add the oil as the last thing. Sawa, higher. Now, you still also have to make sure that you eat a balanced diet. Eat plenty of vegetables. Variate between the legumes and your meats. Eggs are also good. They're good sources of protein. Eat avocados. If you can eat them every day, the better. Include the nuts in your diet as well. Cashew nuts, groundnuts, peanuts. Okay, yeah. So your diet needs to be wholesome. Allow for movement. Move as much as possible. Move. And what we are talking about is for the healthy, normal, healthy people. So now, depending on if you're sick, now there we come up with a different recommendation for you. Sawa, higher. Tutoke hapo twende sasa kwa the most important bit, vegetables and these chemicals, the fertilizers, pesticides, the plant regulators. Okay, that is a very big area of concern in Kenya, in Nairobi. You see, even NTV did a documentary the other day on tomato farmers because of the chemicals that they are using, whether it's the pesticides that they are spraying on the plants, it's even affecting them, so it's leading to cancer. So these foods that you are eating, how safe are they? And this has been a debate, and it's very unfortunate that we as the consumers, we don't really have a way to control or to know. And the bodies that are responsible for this to ensure that we end up eating safe foods, the guidelines, not the guidelines, they are weak. So our rules are not enforced. People are not strict. Even people, we end up importing even the wrong types of foods. And unakumbuka ile issue ya aflatoxin, before you import anything, sikuna hizo guidelines, and these foods need to be assessed in the origin, country of origin. But sasa Kenya tunajipatanga tu hapa na tutumia the longest route, tunajipatanga na counterfeit foods. Imagine, yani we are on our own. Look at the rate at which number of cancer cases have increased. We have foods that are grown in sewage or polluted water bodies. So there we are at risk of also consuming heavy metals that that end up affecting, they can lead to neurological problems, can affect your brain, kidney damage, liver damage. Unaona? Haya, na heavy metals ni kama kina lead, mercury, arsenic. Haya. At the same time, when you eat foods grown from these contaminated waters, you may end up even consuming pathogens, kina E. coli, salmonella, which lead to gut problems, diarrhea, okay, food poisoning. Unajua food poisoning is so bad, inaweza kupeleka ICU. And even children, they're not left out, they're not spared. It also leads to delay in development milestones. And I think some of the vegetables that are usually the worst ni sukuma wiki. So things like ndoma, because they also require to be grown along a water body. You also need to be very particular about your sources of these foods. You just don't buy them randomly. So if you know someone, it makes things easier for you. Spinach, but this discussion that we are having is not cast on stone, and I'm not the expert. So if you know, you're very familiar about the agricultural sector, please inform us. Higher. So things like spinach, they don't usually require a lot of pesticides or the growth regulators. So I feel like spinach is usually safer, even cabbage. Hata tuseme if cabbage has been sprayed on any of these chemicals, it's the outer leaves that usually have them, and for consumption we tend to usually throw away most of those leaves. So cabbage is safe, spinach is safe, na mboga za kienyeji. Haya. You see things like tomatoes. Aki tomatoes, watu wa Nairobi sijui tomatoes zetu zinatoka wapi. Kwanza when you see some of them, aki they are so plumpy, they are shining, they don't even have any spots. Now, and tomatoes unfortunately are the worst. Hizo ndo zinasprayiwa dawa like there's no tomorrow. So on this fertilizer, let me see if I can remember hii lesson ya agriculture. Sikuna hizo DAP, CAN, organophosphates. So I understand that most farmers are using pesticides that have been banned. So you find they're banned in other countries, and here they're available and they're very cheap. So they're easy to get. So, and then during farming, harvesting, there's usually a period when you spray these growth regulators, the ones that make now the plants to grow, to thrive. So there has to be a space, or you have to wait for some time after spraying for the residue to wear off, then now you harvest. But then now here you find people spraying those chemicals and then they harvest. Sasa, these products are coming into the market with a lot of pesticides. Na ndo tunaenda tunakula. You see? So I have seen people who stopped buying tomatoes in their household unless they grow them themselves. Or you also have to make sure where you're getting them for you to even know if something is organic. Organic foods are not usually very perfect. So maybe they may have insect holes, meaning, maybe you can tell by how they're not maybe even in terms of size. Okay? Higher. So I think we just need to continue being cautious, and we variate these things. You don't eat the same thing every day. So when you buy these vegetables, we need to clean them thoroughly. If there's running water, the better. Then you can also soak them in water, then add some salt and vinegar, or you squeeze some lemon juice. Then you soak them for 10 to 15 minutes. For vegetables that can be peeled, the better. Things like courgette, zucchini, carrots, those ones you're an advantage because you end up removing the skin, and that is where the residue usually is. For tomatoes, you can blanch them, or when you're preparing them, you grate so that you don't end up and you throw away the skin. Those are some of the ways. We've had some people saying that when you buy tomatoes, you don't use them immediately. You wait for like 2 weeks for all the residue to have to completely come off. But I don't know how effective that is. So now we've seen we have things like farmers market. There are people who are trying to bring produce that where you can end up tracking. You can track the progress, the route of these products up to the farmer level. That's a good thing. But I feel like we have a really long way to go. And if we all stopped putting the interest of getting money first, and we also just think of our health, our humanity, it will really play a big role. But najua some things are easier said than done. Higher. So if you're at a place where you can get a kitchen garden and you grow your own vegetables, the better. Oh, but now this was someone, we were just having this discussion with someone in the agricultural sector, and she was also recommending, instead of using tomatoes, you can try the cherry tomatoes, because demand for such is not so high, so people don't end up using shortcuts. But then how easy is it to get cherry tomatoes, and how affordable? So at the end of the day, when things, if the journey to living a healthy life or eating healthy becomes complicated, it's not usually sustainable. That's a last challenge. I hope that I have not left anything out, and that you found this video to be quite insightful. If you have any comments, any questions, anything that you need clarification on, please drop a comment. Please don't forget to like, share and subscribe. Until the next video, see you.